All right, welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. And we're once again joined by Nick Sanchez, as we are before every ARCA Menard Series race. Driver of the number 2 Chevrolet for Rev Racing. How's it going, man?
Going good.
No, not the best night that you wanted out in Elko. Kind of go through that. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, we struggled all day with the car in practice and qualifying. The front end was just numb the whole time, and we could not figure out what it was. It was probably the worst experience I've had in an ARCA car. It wasn't fun. So to go out of there in 6th place is honestly like a win for our situation. We're bringing a different car to Berlin, so honestly, we just kind of got out of Elko with what we could. It was not a good night by any means for me or my team. So kind of regroup and go on to Berlin.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, what do you do when you have a bad night? Do you just forget about it after the next day, or how do you handle that?
No, definitely not. I mean, as far as, what happened, you want to forget about it, but as a team, you got to focus and see what the issue was. See why we ran bad, and kind of try to solve the problem we had, because going forward, you definitely don't want to bring the same setup or the same technique you brought to that race to another racetrack. You don't want to do the same thing twice, pretty much. So, just kind of identify the issue, where it was, whether it was suspension setup, whatever it was in the car. You just want to identify that and realize, the effect it made in a race car, and don't really want to do anything like that again. So, kind of move on. I mean, from a mental standpoint, you want to move on, but from a technical standpoint, you want to figure it out.
You guys figured that problem out, though?
Yeah, I think we figured it out. So,
we're gonna go to another short track this week. We're gonna head off to Berlin, off on the course down in Marne. Of course, for people that don't know, it's on the west side of the state, around the Grand Rapids in Michigan, where of course I'm from. So how excited are you to go to Berlin? I mean, a lot of people have raced there, of course. It's the track where Carson Hocevar has done really, really well at, of course, in the truck series this year, of course, and also the winner of Money in the Bank earlier this year. But how excited are you to go to one of the most historic short tracks out in the country?
I mean, I guess short tracks to me, they're all the same, regardless of the history. It's a short track, and it will never get me as excited as going to a big track. But I'm just excited to get another shot at it in a different car, with a totally different approach to it. So I'm more excited from that standpoint, and I think we'll have a lot of speed. You never know, but I think we will. So from that standpoint, I'm really excited, and I just want to win. I just want to win.
Yeah, Toyota's won all the races this year. It would be good to see. Chevrolet, Ford has not won an ARCA this year, so it'd be good to see them. Good to see them do that, trying to take down the Veneries and the Gibb and Ty. So it's definitely going to be that for sure. Couple things. I know that part of being the Rev Racing program is you coming from these different backgrounds, of course. Coming for you, I think it's Cuba?
Yeah, my dad was born in Cuba and came to America when he was 8, so I'm Cuban.
Yeah, and of course, I'm sure you're well aware of what's been going on there and what's been going on there for years.
Yeah,
as the Cuban citizens revolt against the communist government that has been in place there for, goodness gracious, basically for over 60 plus years. So
yeah.
And I know you said something about that today. Kind of looking back and where you kind of came from, what's it like to see that a lot of people want to be, and a lot of Cubans came to America to live the life that we have, and I know that they're not, and I know they're trying to fight for what we enjoy every day.
Yeah, I mean, being from Miami, there's the Cuban community is very big, so obviously all the Cubans, I always knew what Cuba was like going from a young age, even though I've never been, and I obviously was not born there. From my dad and then from my family, I've always heard the things that would happen growing up, and they still happen to this day. I have cousins. I have a great aunt that just came from Cuba. My dad hasn't seen her in 42 years. I had a cousin 3 years ago that came on a raft. In the past 5 years, I probably had 10 or 12 cousins that have fled from Cuba to come to America. So, people, I guess the world's just now realizing how bad Cuba is. And, a lot of people never knew that, what happened in Cuba. You can't go out and buy eggs or buy food. You can't go to the movies. Everything's run by the government, and it's a communist country, and it's definitely not a way. Nobody should have to live that way, pretty much, is what I'm going to say. Yeah. And I'm just glad the world is finally realizing that, and I'm hoping people of Cuba get the freedom they deserve.
Hopefully so. I know that it's a developing story, and I know we're obviously going to be watching it. I know this has been an ongoing issue for many decades since, with, of course, with Cuba and the U.S. and all that fun stuff. So, yep. And then going into this weekend and with these short track. Well, I wouldn't call it a short track. But it's similar to that. But you got a bunch of short tracks coming up, and then you got Watkins Glen after that. What's that going to be like heading into these next 4 weeks? What do you need? What do you want to see from this team? And obviously, a good bounce back coming back after the struggles at Elko.
I just want to put myself. I want to be in position to win. I want to be on the offense, like I was in Charlotte. If you have speed in the car, that's all I could ask for. And I'm going to be trying to make sure I do everything in my power to show up to the track as prepared as possible and, ready to rip. I don't want to leave anything on the table. And, I know my team doesn't want to either. It's very hard competing, with the Ventrinis and the Gibbs, but I think we could do it. We've showed our speed before earlier in the year. And I'm confident, Berlin and Iowa, Watkins Glen, they're all tracks Rev's been to. I don't think we've gone to a track. The only 2 tracks we've been to this year, I believe, were Toledo and Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Other than that, every track's been new to us. So out of the next 4 weeks, for 3 of them to be tracks they've raced at in prior years, and have data from, that'll be a very big benefiting factor for us. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. And, it's not going to be an unknown for my team. So, it will be for me because I've never been there, but from a technical aspect, it won't be. And that is very important.
All right. Well, Nick Sanchez, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. And of course, good luck this weekend at Berlin.
Appreciate it.